Good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing you to the news on church stories. I am Oyi Okbala. Let's begin. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted, bringing you to the news on church stories. I am Oyi Okbala. Let's begin. The people of Ambazonian are tired of broken promises, tired of being treated like strangers in their own land, and tired of watching their communities fall apart while those in power grow richer by the day. In Bamenda, to start with, roads that once carried life and movement, places like Mobile, Nkwame, and Cow Street, have become symbols of abandonment. What used to be a great part are now cracked, flooded, and impossible. Each pothole tells a story of suffering, each detour a reminder of how far Ambazonians have been pushed aside. Taxpayers even ask, where is our money? But there are no answers, only silence and worsening conditions. Meanwhile, the La Republic du Cameroon government takes pride in the Bamenda Road, a stretch meant to serve their convenience, not ours or Ambazonians. Well, inside Ambazonia and Bamenda itself, the decay is left to fester, as if Ambazonians are not worthy of the very basics. In Buea, the pain is no different. Mayor Mafany David Namange, who should serve the people, has instead become a symbol of greed. As residents dodge potholes and live with daily hardship, he parades in a Toyota Prado TXL worth nearly 200 million francs CFA. A cruel slap in the face to a people whose dignity is trampled every single day. This is not just about roads. It's about how deeply Ambazonians have been neglected, how violently the cries of Ambazonians have been ignored. It's about the people stripped of their rights, silenced in their suffering, and forced to live as second-class citizens in their own homeland. Ambazonians are not asking for favors. They are demanding what is theirs: dignity, justice, and the freedom to build their future. Until that day comes, Ambazonians will continue to speak, to resist, and to remind the world that they matter and they will not be forgotten. All these and more, we'll talk on tonight's headlines, but first let's get the prime headlines. Let's start with Monday Ghost Town. Bamenda to Buea has come to a standstill today as everyone observes the ghost town. Bamenda streets are dilapidated with public funds unaccounted for. Residents of Buea have described Mayor Mafany David Namange as the worst mayor ever. Southern Cameroon's braces for prolonged sufferings on the Buea continued rule. Also tonight, in news across Africa, UN condemns brutal attacks on civilians in eastern DRC, while around the globe, Russia and China challenge Western gold market dominance with new BRICS-centric systems. Now let's get to the news in full briefings. The traditional ghost town in Buea and Bamenda remains a reality, with residents observing the shutdown as a form of protest. The city's streets are characteristically deserted, with businesses closed and minimal activities. In Bamenda, the streets are empty, void of commercial activities, as many call for shutdowns, and is heeded by residents and business owners alike. The usual bustling markets and commercial hubs are early quiet, a testament to the determination of the people to make their voices heard. Even colonial administrative offices are locked, with civil servants staying away from work in solidarity with the ghost town. This shutdown has become a familiar sight in both Buea and Bamenda as residents continue to express their grievances and demands through this form of peaceful protest. The ghost town has been an ongoing phenomenon, with Monday being a day for the residents to voice their discontent. The situation on the ground remains calm but tense as residents wait for meaningful dialogue and resolution to their concerns. And for us here on Undaunted, respecting ghost town is quite significant, owing to the fact that previously there has been severe back and forth, especially with the colonial DUs trying to find a way to strangle the people, either struggle to try to make them pay extra tax for those who are not going to work or those who are not going to the market. But here we have Ambazonians respecting it. Barrister Mbeseha, welcome to tonight's Undaunted.
Oh, welcome and thank you for inviting me this morning, or this afternoon.
You're welcome. All right, so this is what we have for our first report, the ghost town. As you can see, highly respected. Today's focus went down to Buea and Bamenda in general, and you can see the markets, offices, and shops closed down. The streets even deserted. How does this make you feel, owing to the fact that we've had severe reports of, the colonial politicians trying to threaten those who respect Monday Ghost Town?
Well, if you ask how it makes me feel proud. But what is important is not my pride. It is the way the enemy responds to Ghost Town. We've said many times before, Ghost Town is part of what we call international law, civil disobedience. That's a disobedience manifestly done by the population without any demonstration, without any action, simply going to sleep in your bed, simply doing what you want to do in honor of something, which is what is Ghost Town. It has been respected from day one, since 2016, when Tazan said, come Monday, you will see who owns Ambazonian. Even government offices respect it. But the strange thing is how the Cameroon government reacts to ghost towns, which in summary I've said are a civil disobedience. Is civil disobedience a crime? Is refusal to do something without more a crime in Cameroon? Certainly not. But the administration has elevated civil disobedience as ghost towns into a crime by arresting people who manifest civilly not to do something that they would have done. By forcing their stores open or locking them with additional locks. And so the elevation of civil disobedience to a crime in Cameroon is an issue internationally. Because civil disobedience is not just a question of Ambazonian or Cameroon. It's worldwide. They used it in the United States. They used it all over in civilized countries around the world. It's not a crime. It's meant for the population to bring to notice, especially to the governing class in that particular country, and to the world at large who sympathize with whatever is going on, to take note that even though the military has the weapons, they have the police force, they have the gendarmes, they have the guns, they have the military to shoot people down. The population has nothing but its own will, demonstrated in what they cannot do and what they don't want to do. Since when this one became a crime, we don't know. But it's a crime in Cameroon. It was in Ambazonia. It has been there since 2016. From the records that we find, it is progressively moving up the Republic of Cameroon. Because from the last statement issued by the Ministry of Territorial Administration, a certain Atanganji, who doubles for an Ambazonian and a Cameroonian at the same time, on the eve of the elections, he rise out and say, whoever shall do this popular resistance is a criminal. He shall be indicted. He shall be equated to rebellion. And then you'll be punished. You'll be caught. What is rebellion? There's nothing like civil rebellion. Rebellion in terms of war is carrying up arms. But he threatens the people there. Whoever resists the imposition of whoever candidate they want in the elections shall be a rebel, shall be equated to a rebellion, to an uprising in silence in a way. We go into a room and lie in bed, there's an uprising in silence. An uprising in what? In spirit, just sleeping in your bed and sleeping and dreaming, becomes a rebellion, becomes a crime in Cameroon. Again, nothing is impossible in Cameroon. But as far as those towns are concerned, we are glad, we are very, very exceptionally happy that even the ordinary citizens, without their roundstones, in Kumba, in Buea, in Bamenda, anywhere in Amazonia, recognize it. Even the so-called administrators, they themselves don't go to their offices. They stay home in solidarity with the population. Maybe this solidarity is deliberate or inadvertent, but the fact that their own offices are closed, the fact that their schools are closed, is indicative that ghost towns are working. The message is being sent. Their action indicates that they are receiving the message. That's why they are angry. That's why they are reacting by locking up your stores, by forcing you to do what you don't want to do. Their reaction is indicative that they know what is going on. And the world is watching and watching and watching. The question we ask is, how long shall the civilized world, how long shall Cameroon partners come to the reality that what is happening in Ambazonian is a reality, that the population doesn't want it, that they need to go to the conference table and address the root causes, even of the simply of the civil disobedience. If the population is angry, why not address the causes? And so that's what it is. We can say congratulations to Bamenda and to Buea. Why Bamenda and Buea? Because these are two towns that are very, very significant in the history and the geography of Amazonia. Buea is the capital, administrative capital. Bamenda is the largest metropolitan commercial and political capital. And so those two towns embody what we call Amazonia. And so thank you for the people for what they are doing. Congratulations, do what you are doing. Forget about the threats, forget about the diversions, and keep on doing it. We shall resist and resist until the root cause of the issue of the problem are addressed and adequate and acceptable solutions are found. To you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister. Moving away from the Ghost Town report now, let's get into the roads and its issues, still in Bamenda. So the streets in Bamenda, including sections around Mobile, Nkwem, and Cow Streets, continually show physical decline. Taxpayers are demanding answers on where their money goes. These routes, which supported traffic a decade prior to now hinder daily movement, while La Republic to Cameroon has ensured its Bamenda stretch has undergone significant surfacing. Roads within Bamenda itself remain in a poor state. Streets within Bamenda, like we said, Mobile, Cream, and Cow Street, are experiencing decline. Road surfaces from 10 years ago, previously supporting vehicles and motorbike movement, now present obstacles. Vehicles and motorbikes navigate through areas with accumulated water. A section of road between Babajo in neighboring La Republic to Cameroon and Bamenda has received tar surfacing. However, within Bamenda town, the condition of roads does not reflect a similar level of maintenance or movement. These poor road quality impact daily activity and clearly, public funds are embezzled from citizens in the Midland zone, and the state of the road network in the town prompts inquiry regarding the use of these financial contributions, as accountability for these allocations has become a concern. Beyond the road network, Bamenda experiences other operational issues. Waste management system show breakdown, resulting in refuse accumulation in public spaces, while access to clean water is inconsistent. Electricity supply is a huge problem, as numerous parts of the town have witnessed persistent blackouts for years, and public services often fail to provide consistent delivery to the population. That's not even all. Even Buea, they are crying out. They are crying out that right now they have the worst mayor ever. Residents of Buea have described Mayor Mafany David Namange as the worst mayor, citing his inability to maintain the city's infrastructure. Meanwhile, he's seen driving a luxurious Toyota Prado XL valued at approximately 200 million francs CFA, a stark contrast to the dilapidated roads that plague the city. The residents of Buea are growing increasingly frustrated with the state of their city's road. The dilapidated infrastructure has made navigation a significant challenge, leaving many to wonder when improvements will be made. At the center of their discontent is Colonial Mayor Mafany David Namange, whom they accuse of failing to fulfill his duty to maintain and rebuild roads. The colonial mayor's inability to address these pressing issues has led to a widespread criticism, questioning his effectiveness in serving the roads of the community. As the situation continues to deteriorate, residents are demanding action and accountability from the colonial local leadership. Worse still, the colonial mayor Mafany David Namange drives Toyota Prado TXL, valued at approximately 200 million francs CFA, money at the expense of the coffers of the poor masses, yet he's unable to provide them with good roads. His ineffectiveness to meet the aspiration of the people only exacerbates the plight of the people already paralyzed by the ongoing war in Ambazonia. And so when we put these reports together, Barrister Mbeseha, one will be tempted to ask very simple question. There are no roads. So how does he drive through the roads exactly when there are no roads? Why buy expensive cars when you do not have roads to drive through to wherever you're going to? And, all of that. But, the people aren't even concerned about that. They're just concerned to the fact that they are suffering. And our so-called leaders are enjoying in very massive ways.
Well, I think we have to analyze it carefully, strategic manner. Let me answer the question you put last. Analysis. There are no good roads. Why buy such an expensive good car? That's the question you asked. The mayor of Buea. The answer is this. The mayor of Buea has not bought any own. That Mafany in his own capacity can buy a bicycle. That's how a bicycle doesn't have money to buy all that. It's provided with those things free to serve the investment. Is it this? No. I will come back to it to deal with the mayor of Buea and other mayors because it's not exclusive of Buea. But just go back to bad road. We start from the bad roads, mayor of Buea, and by extension, other mayors. The bad roads are not an issue of today. We are talking about the bad roads every day. We are talking about garbage disposal. If it's not because ABC or Ambazonian are talking about it, no. It is because they want us to talk about it. The issue of bad roads became prominent to be discussed on social media and on TV everywhere. First, in the Southwest, they call it. Well, here in Gele, the Director General of the police thing, came driving from Yaoundé to Motengene for the graduation of his students from the Motengene Police College. And there he issued a statement that driving from Yaoundé to Motengene was impossible. There were no roads. It became a subject to be discussed publicly. It has become also public in Bamenda. Not so much because the thing did not happen. No, it was there. But remember 2 weeks ago, a certain Minister Nalua came up there in the company of the Prime Minister that she was stepping foot in Bamenda for the first time and realized the roads were so terrible. That was a government minister. Thereafter, what do you find? You find a minister in Ghana, whatever thing they call him, in charge of roads, running left his head as skater, both in the northwest. So he came to Buea just last week. He did all this. They have been putting it out there. It's not by mistake. Those roads did not get bad yesterday. There have been no roads there in the past 10 years. Those don't get suddenly bad within hours or days or within months. There have been no roads in Bamenda. There have been no roads in Buea. There have been no roads in Ambazonian. But they have become a public debate issue now because the government wants us to talk about it. Why? Because it is election year. Do they intend to repair the roads? No. In the face of the talking, you would find, after this, you find a truck standing there with some mud. A caterpillar standing at the corner of the road. We are grading the road. Somebody coming out, we are picking the garbage. It is meant to campaign for the presidential elections. Yeah, we know that the roads are not there. This is a caterpillar standing here waiting to do it, waiting for the job to be done. It is not only Buea, it is not only Bamenda. I remember last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about this. There has been no road, for example, in Kupimango, in Maninkuba forever. There has never been any road there. But on the eve of elections, 5 people contribute money. The caterpillar is standing somewhere, claiming to be a bridge. Before that, some people are going on foot somewhere, contributing money to let Paul Biya be elected. It is an election strategy. It is not because they want to highlight our plight. The roads have ever been bad. Say, for example, in Bamenda. Who have seen the French ambassador go to Bamenda and promise to fix the roads almost more than a year ago? We have seen the so-called reconstruction, whatever nonsense they call it from Yaoundé. Go there, we're trying to rehabilitate the roads. We're trying to do this left and right. It is the same thing. You are going to see a caterpillar standing somewhere, saying that they are digging the wrong road today. All this combined with what is happening in Kupe Manigumba, what might be happening in the BLM, and everywhere else in Ambazonian, is a campaign strategy for the elections coming up in October, in the next 60 days. So that's the strategy. It's not because they didn't know about the roads. They didn't need Naluba B, the Minister of Higher Education, of Secondary Education, to tell people in Bamenda that there's no road. No. They didn't need her in the same delegation that the Prime Minister was driving on the bad road to tell them that there's no road in Bamenda. No. They didn't need Mr. Nganu to drive to Buea last week to see the colonial governor who drives on this bad road to say, come and see the road between Moya and my 17. 1 mile stretch of road. They did not. So they do all this. At the end of the day, you see a caterpillar, a head on a truck standing there, pretending to dig the road, telling you that the CPDM is the best ever found in the world, telling you that the dead living President Paul Biya is the best president who has ever lived on earth. And so that's a campaign strategy. Not because they care about roads, no. It is because they care about being in power. Let us transition then to the mayor. I said the mayor in Buea by himself cannot buy even a bicycle. He cannot buy a bicycle. Like any other mayor, he's not alone. They're all giving those very cars. But remember the case of Madame Mundi. What happened to Madame Mundi? She was driving a Prado when she was captured. I don't know where she got, but when she was taken anyway. And she came back from her captivity in a jet, in a helicopter. Why? Why did she not drive back? And so the issue of roads has been there. Again, back to the mayor again. This gentleman in Buea, he is just a victim of circumstances, like any other mayor. Elections of mayor are meant to show one or two things. They are a political masquerade of the CPD. If you ask the people in Buea who say, oh, this is a very bad mayor, when did they ever elect that guy? He was never elected. It's a political masquerade from Yaoundé to put anybody they want there, call him mayor. They did not elect him, that's a fact. He was not elected. Just like any other mayor somewhere else. They were not elected. It's a political machination from Yaoundé, orchestrated by the insiders of the CPDM, who impose leaders on us. And so that is what a mayor in Cameroon is. But let us even assume that that mayor of Bamenda, Buea, or Bamenda, or any other town was duly elected. Just assume for a moment that he was duly elected. Could that mayor, duly elected, change anything in town? Pick the garbage in the streets, bring water, which people are complaining about, bring electricity that they're complaining about? No, they don't have the capacity to do that. Because beyond that, above the mayor is somebody they call the chef de terre. Be in a divided city of Bamenda, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Victoria, call it Limbe, Urban Council 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Kumba, or any other one. Each of them has, as I said, a colonial administrator who overrides whatever actions they take. He's a colonial man. An example is clear. When people in Buea or in Bamenda complain about garbage in the streets, they don't go to the mayor, they go to the DO. When people in Buea, Bamenda, Kumba, wherever complain of no electricity, no water, they don't go to the mayor, they go to the DO. The guy who enjoys presidential appointment by decree, the guy who's supposed to be chef de terre. And being chef de terre is also the boss of the mayor. And that is the key problem that is in Ambazonia. We have lived this too long. In 1961, when the purportedly joined them, why the government in Buea? Well, when they transformed the government of Buea into the agent or into the subservient agent of President Ahijo at the time, what did they do? 2 months into what the so-called unification, they appointed an administrator to represent Mr. Ahijo in Buea, whose administrator enjoyed the presidential decree and had the power of veto, had the power to override what the government of Foncha, elected by the people, for the people, was there. And so they don't recognize those things you call mayors, because mayors are either the appointees or they be removed. By their own text, they can remove that mayor, they don't want him, notwithstanding whatever thing you call nonsense elections. If you don't remove him popularly, they will frustrate your action, because everything that the mayor does in Buea, that the mayor does in Bamenda, that the mayor does in Da, or anywhere in Akwaya, has to be vetted by the colonial master, by the presidency, through their agent, the colonial administrator called Dio, who is called in summary everywhere in Cameroon, chef de terre. He's the one who commands the gendarmes in that town. He commands the policemen. He commands the whoever is there to go and kill him. He's commanded not by the Dio, not by the mayor, but it's commanded by the Dio. And so the poor mayor can drive a good car. It's given to him. Why would you refuse to drive a good car? What does it cost you? If the car breaks down, you throw it away and they'll give you another one. It's not your money. This mayor's, again, my poor Mafany good friend, who was never elected by the people, was imposed from Yaoundé. And that's the will of Yaoundé. It is not him alone. That's what I said. The mayor of Buea, by extension, other mayors. Even if you're going to be elected, call it you were the mayor elected by the SDF. You are going to abide by this authority of the mayor who lives in that town. by the authority of the sous-prefect or the prefect, who has his own territory capped out by presidential decree. Your mayorship is irrelevant. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you so much. It's so nice how you've put that at the end of the day. Now, moving on to reports coming in from La Republic to Cameroon. President Paul Biya's declaration to contest La Republic to Cameroon's October 2025 presidential elections indicates a difficult period for southern Cameroon, for a population already enduring years of brutal war and state repression. His recandidacy equals prolonged suffering. Ambazonians are in a state of panic as systemic issues fueling the war and the associated hardships will persist or worsen under continued leadership that has shown little willingness to fundamentally address the grievances of the southern Cameroonian people. The announcement of Biya's bid for an eighth term in the October 2025 presidential election is met with apprehension across all three zones of Ambazonia. These areas have been the epicenter of an over 8-year-long war that has devastated communities and claimed lives. Under Biya's long dictatorial rule, what began as demands for cultural and institutional preservation escalated into a bloody war characterized by intense military operations and widespread human rights concerns. For many Ambazonians, Biya's continued presence at the helm means a continuation of the same policies that have fostered the war. There is a deeply rooted belief that his administration has consistently refused to engage in genuine dialogue or implement reforms that would address the core issues of marginalization and political exclusion. Besides, the ASA, other movements already active in the zones have renewed calls for an election boycott, viewing any participation as legitimizing a system they hold responsible for their plight. The record of the colonial administration's handling of the war offers little comfort. Military deployments have frequently been accompanied by reports of civilian casualties and abuses. Initiatives like the Major National Dialogue have been widely dismissed in southern Cameroon as insufficient, failing to tackle the fundamental demands for greater autonomy or a return to a federal system. The recent barring of prominent opposition figures such as Maurice Kamto from their electoral race further consolidates power, removing avenues for political challenge and potentially heightening nationwide tensions. Unfortunately, the prospect of another 7-year term for Biya and his crew indicates for those in southern Cameroon that the war's severe humanitarian toil will not abate. It implies a continuation of militarized responses, restricted freedoms, and a prevailing sense that their concerns will remain unaddressed. Barrister Mbeseha, inasmuch as Ambazonians are, willing to detach, there is some other, background truths that are there. If the Biya's regime wins this coming elections, wouldn't it still be the same suffering for Ambazonians? I ask, sir.
That's a very interesting question. The question is, if Biya wins, if the regime wins, that gives the impression that they have won before. No, it's not a question of if they win. The issue is if they come back to power. As usual, would that make any difference? The answer to me is no. And that goes to underlie why we say Ambazonian take part in those elections. Since 1961, they will purportedly joined them. We have had at least 2 presidents. But in summary, 1 president in continuity. When Ahidjo was there in 1960 to 1982, he was there together with Paul Biya. Paul Biya had entered the government in 1961 or 60. What did we obtain under Mr. Ahidjo as the first president? will obtain suppression, will obtain the beginning of the assimilation from Fumban to 1982. But before 1982, there was 1972 under Ahidjo, which 1972 killed the so-called federation, abolished our institutions through the 1972 20th May referendum. Simply put, what did Ahidjo presidency bring to us? It brought to us the complete death, the killing, the execution of the state of Southern Cameroon. They transformed into West Cameroon. The state was killed and buried in 1972. 10 years after the burial in 1972, come 1982, they brought Paul Biya there. What was he supposed to do? He was not supposed to revive Southern Cameroon by their own agenda. He was supposed to ensure that the burial did not even leave any breathing space for a simple air to go into the grave. So the person who had died and not completely died could breathe. And he did just that in 1984, saying that, well, whatever thing was called Southern Cameroon has ceased to exist. We have gone back to what we were. We are now the Republic of Cameroon. And that has come down to what we have today. And so, does it make any difference to us? No. That's probably whatever presidential elections. From 1961 till today, 2025, we have been getting elections, though mock elections, in the so-called Cameroon, that involved Ambazonians. Ambazonians who participated in that thing. But what has that brought to us? Absolutely nothing. It has brought to us only death, not survivor. And therefore, under these premises, is there any reason why Ambazonians should even be part of the masquerade? No. Elections to us, to Ambazonians in general, have brought death rather than salvation. The easiest one that we can imagine was 1992. 1992 is 30 years into the so-called reunification, where Mr. Nifrundi, an Anglophone, an Ambazonian, they call him Anglophone, won the elections. It's not a claim. They have admitted it. He won the elections. And they sat down in their own circle, publicly, they've told us, and said, never shall an Anglophone be in a treaty. That is recorded. It's not you and me saying it. The chief orchestrator of this thing, who is also recorded there, is not even Paul Biya, it's a certain Ambazonian, who said that he was the first man to say no. No Nifrundi, no Anglophone here. That's Ambazonian, 1992. What has changed, Mr. Ambazonian? Ambazonian today is still there, very active. What is he doing? He's looking for Bamenda and Kamto to replace a huge Paul Biya. And the last we heard is that he's being asked to be arrested for resisting Paul Biya to make his own countrymen, they all come from Banjul, even be a candidate. They want to arrest him. What is new there? Should Ambazonian be arrested? Probably should not be arrested for his views. But call it what it is. Let people be paid in the right coins. Ambazonian, his refusal to his orchestration to make Nifrundi not win the elections, and Nifrundi and all his supporters, detention, state of emergency, they were locked up in their home, they could not go out. Just for winning an election. If it had been Buba Bello, if it had been somebody from East Cameroon, they would never have locked him up, but they locked this guy up, closed the door of Bamenda. Why? Because he was an Ambazonian who had won by error the presidency of the so-called Cameroon. And so this is telling. Your question was whether we shall continue to suffer. No, we have been suffering ever since. There's nothing positive to show of the presidency of Mr. Ahidjo or of the past office holding of Mr. Ahidjo, of Mr. Paul Biya, other than what he said in 2019, I think, when he declared that for all their life, they've been trying to assimilate Anglo funds. The people who have tried to assimilate with them without success. Also, we've gotten nothing from Paul Biya in the past. We got nothing before from his predecessor, Ayujo. And we will get nothing different in the new Paul Biya of 2025 if he decides to become the president. The only thing that we would get, which we are asking them to understand, is that they will get more resistance. They must have learned to accept. Paul Biya himself has accepted that the assimilation effort failed. If the assimilation effort failed, what is left? You vomit all what you are trying to assimilate. Vomit it out unwillingly, because you are vomiting, let me say, a python vomiting out a porcupine. You vomit out what you could not swallow. And let the porcupine that has refused to be swallowed go and survive in its own way. Be a proud guy who is defeated by admitting that this thing is above me. Let us talk and separate. Again, but for simple illustration, why do you need to keep a woman in your house if she's still your wife, and all what is left of her is to go and make children from outside and bring to you to foster? She is no longer your wife. If she cannot go to bed with you to produce children, let her go her way. Make her life what she wants. And you live and make your life what you want. If you want to marry other women, so be it. But that woman is gone. Once she starts to make children from out of the marriage, if she starts to bring children from outside to pollute your marriage, that marriage is gone and gone forever. Because even on your death, the children who were brought from outside, that you claim to be yours, will be the very children who will destroy your whole legacy of the family head. And so we got nothing from Paul Biya before 2025. We got nothing from Ayujo before Paul Biya. We are not going to get anything out of it. Let us stay clear of the elections. As I've said before, who will anyone or any other person come to Gabriel Lebi or whoever succeeds him in 2025 to meet us on the conference table for negotiation. Because to us, there's no difference between Paul Biya of yesterday and today. There's no difference between Buba Bello. There's no difference between Kamto, who is represented by Ambazonian. They are one and the same people as far as Ambazonians are concerned. So good luck to them. Wish them the best come October 12th. And then with them, they are willing to learn from their past errors. Come negotiate out what you cannot swallow, because the attempt to assimilate has failed. It failed, as announced by Paul Biya himself. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. Still in La Republic du Cameroon, when La Republic du Cameroon first launched a war against Ambazonia, it failed to assess the repercussions this war could have on its recruits. A video has surfaced online showing Gabriel Stama, a former colonial military serviceman in uniform, displaying some mental distress. The footage shows an individual held in custody with rumpled hair, claiming to be a lieutenant. Reports have it that Stama is indeed a former military man who graduated from La Republique du Cameroon's 2019 military badge. His demise came as an effect of the traumatic experiences he faced with the Ambazonian State Army while on deployment in southern Cameroon. The new public video shows Gabriel Stama, a man once part of La Republic du Cameroon Armed Forces, in a military uniform, his mind shattered and completely abandoned to himself. His hair is unkempt, his behavior erratic, the mentality deranged. Individual pointing to his opulence insists he is a lieutenant, a rank he claims he bought for 8,000 francs CFA in Mokolo, one of the largest markets in La Republique du Cameroon's capital city, Yaoundé. Stama, who entered service as a colonial gendarmerie in 2019 promotion before military transfer, is a direct casualty of his Bamenda deployment. His psychological collapse stems from the Ambazonian war trauma. For over 8 years now, the colonial system has consistently and constantly sent men to violently suppress citizens in Ambazonia. It offers no meaningful support when these men narrowly escape death and return broken. The BS regime uses the soldiers into a war, uses them as bait, and demands they enforce its will. Considered as assets for use, they receive nothing in return for their destroyed mental health. While BS stooges dwell in their lies that they have everything under control, Stammer's public breakdown destroys any idea of colonial government's concern. It shows the reality of how the military war strategies against Ambazonia fails to bring peace, destroying the sanity of its own combatants. Barrister Mbeseha, you could see the stress of trying to fight the people, how it affects even the men who are sent to physically have the fight.
Well, if the story is true, Mr. Stammer, I don't know where you Stammer or Stammer. If that story is true, it's just a reminder that those of you who even joined the so-called colonial army, call it the gendarmerie, call it the police, call it the B, you are not safe. You're under surveillance. If you are unfortunate to be sent to Ambazonia, be it in Bamenda, in Buea, in Du, be it in Undaunted, you are under surveillance. And the least they will get out of you is just sympathy. If out of your sympathy you took your own small ration, bread ration, and gave it to a little child running down the street, you become an accomplice to what they call the rebellion. And they will target you. So the Cameroon security forces put in block is not a sheltering place for you because nobody will sympathize with you there. Because you are in the minority everywhere, you will still be in the minority wherever you are deployed. If they deploy, say, 100 soldiers to Bamenda or to Buea or to Kumba, out of that 100, there will be 80 francophones. They will be supervising you, they are spying on you. And so there's no escape route. The best I found from Ambazonians who joined that thing was to use it as a ploy to escape. Because there's no justice there. I'm not sure even the highest generals who have been promoted as Ambazonian to that corps, they are under surveillance. They are under surveillance. Take me or leave it. And so that is not a place for the post-timer. Whatever grade he carries there, that's not a senior grade. Even if he was a senior grade, I've just said. Even if he was a general, there will be somebody above him or below him who is actually carrying surveillance and reporting about you. That's not a place for you. The hatred for Ambazonia is not reserved for some people. It is worldwide in the Cameroon. And so they will spy on you to see if you have sympathies for your own people, for the oppressed people. It's the same thing. If you were in the slave days in Cameroon, in the United States, whoever sympathizes with the slaves is a criminal because you could aid the slave to escape. Nobody sympathizes with the slave. If you try to make him escape from his dungeon, you become a criminal as well. And so that's what is happening there. Again, I've just said, if out of sympathy you find yourself in a Undaunted or in Fruawa or Frunkanka, and out of sympathy you give a hungry child a piece of your own bread and a slice of your own sardine, just to feed that Anglophone child who is dying of starvation, your superior, your junior will write a report against you that you sympathize with terrorists and you'll be down for it. So I will feel sorry for Paul Stimmer, that's his name, but what he's going through should serve as a lesson to others who think that they can find shelter in the Cameroon army, in any structure, or even in the Cameroon administration, be it whatever, be it the duo, who also has the power of the presidential appointment. Somebody is watching you to see if you sympathize with the enemy. All of them have one enemy, Ambazonia. So don't be deceived. Even the Atanganjis at that level. I can assure you Atanganji with all his vociferous talking. Somebody is spying on him to see when he will change and pretend to support Ambazonian. He'll be down. He will go back to his nearby prison if he does. Somebody is looking at you at any level. Even Dion Gute, somebody is spying on you. The day you will show sympathy for Ambazonia, you'll be gone. You will go like Efem Inoni, who was the prime minister before you. You will die like the Jews. You'll be eliminated like the Frundis. So no Ambazonia has a friend in the Republic of Cameroon, especially politically or in the Secret Service section. No, they are spying on you. Even dear Akerimona, all you do there, they clap hands for you. But they are spying on you. When any day you show sympathy and go out there to talk about oil coming from Dian and tell me that Dian people have a right to some denomination, you will go down for it. Dare it now and see what will happen to you. And so poor Sama will feel sorry for you. We hope God saves your life. But the story of Sama should be looked at in the larger context. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Barrister Mbeseha. We've set the agenda and foundation for the week, and there's all thanks to you doing the analysis in the professional way. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have you here return and we'll continue with the conversation. But for now, we'll need to let you go as we finish up with the African and news from the global scene.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. And when we return from the break, we'll go straight to the Democratic Republic of Congo as we hear that MONUSCO has strongly condemned a series of brutal attacks there. The United Nations mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, MONUSCO, has strongly condemned a series of brutal attacks by the Allied Democratic Forces, the ADF, which have left dozens of civilians dead in the eastern provinces of the country. The violence, which included targeted killings in places of worship, has drawn international outrage and renewed concerns over the deteriorating security situation in the country. These targeted attacks against defenseless civilians, particularly in places of worship, are not only appalling, but also in violation of all human rights standards and international humanitarian law. Deputy Special Representatives of the UN Secretary General for Protection and Operations, acting head of MONUSCO will continue to work tirelessly along the Congolese authorities to protect their population in the line with the mandate, she said. The ADF, a notorious armed group originally formed in Uganda in the 1990s, has since entrenched itself in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, particularly in the North Kivu and the Ituri provinces. The group is known for its brutal tactics, including mass killings, kidnappings, and destruction of civilian infrastructure. In one of the most recent incidents, MONUSCO confirmed that the ADF was behind a deadly attack in Ituri, in the province, in the early July, which resulted in the deaths of at least 47 people. Witnesses reported that assailants raided villages in the dead of the night, setting homes ablaze and indiscriminately killing residents, including women and children. The renewed violence comes amid broader instability in the Eastern DRC, where multiple armed groups continue to operate despite ongoing military operations and peacekeeping efforts. MONUSCO and Congolese authorities have warned of a resurgence in activity by the ADF and other militias, and have also called on all foreign armed groups to lay down their weapons unconditionally and return to their countries of origin. The UN mission has intensified patrols and community engagement in vulnerable areas. But the vast terrain and limited infrastructure continue to pose challenges to civilian protection. MONUSCO reiterated its commitment to supporting the Congolese government in its efforts to stabilize their country and called on the international community to increase support for humanitarian assistance and peacekeeping initiatives. Human rights groups have also called for stronger international action, including sanctions and increased accountability for those responsible for atrocities. As the security situation remains fragile, civilians in eastern DRC continues to bear the brunt of the violence, prompting renewed appeals for sustainable peace and justice in the country. When we return after this short break, we'll get into the news across the globe, where Russia and China challenge Western gold market dominance with new BRICS-centric systems. China has also taken a decisive stance by steadily increasing its official gold reserves and expanding domestic gold trading mechanisms through the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Belgium aims to challenge Western dominance in gold price discovery and offer an alternative benchmark rooted in yuan-dominated contracts, reinforcing its broader goals of currency, internationalization, and financial sovereignty. Russia and China are taking concrete steps to reduce Western influence over global gold market, signaling a broader move towards monetary self-reliance and the re-domiciliation of gold reserves away from traditional Western centers. Russia is preparing to launch its own gold exchange, independent of the London Bullion Market Association, which has dominated international price settling since the early 20th century. According to officials, trading on the new Russian platform will be based on physical bullion, with participation open to BRICS member states. This marks an effort to establish a gold market self-sufficient from Western financial infrastructure, reflecting wider de-dollarization trends among emerging economies. China has also taken a decisive stance by steadily increasing its official gold reserves and expanding domestic gold trading mechanism through their Shanghai Gold Exchange. Belgium aims to challenge Western dominance in gold price and its discovery and offers an alternative benchmark rooted in yuan-dominated contracts, reinforcing its broader goals of currency, internationalization, and financial sovereignty. Well, you would want to ask yourself, what is this relationship between China and Russia all of a sudden? Is Russia backing out on the BRICS? Oh, well, we'll definitely find out as the day progresses. But this is where we draw the curtains on tonight Undaunted. But before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made it to the headlines. Tonight on Undaunted, we told you that the Monday ghost town has been respected in Bamenda through to Buea as it was on standstill. So tonight we took a look at Bamenda streets being dilapidated with public funds unaccounted. Residents of Buea have also described Mayor Mafany David Namange as the worst mayor. Today, we took a look at the news across Africa, where the UN has condemned brutal attacks on civilians in eastern DR Congo. While across the globe, we told you that Russia and China challenges Western gold market dominance with new BRICS-centric system. That's it on tonight's Undaunted, bringing to the news untold stories. On behalf of Barrister Mbeseha and the team of technicians behind tonight's production, it's good night and God bless.